Hey guys, welcome back. I wasn't be expecting to do a video this quickly over this, but there have been some updates on the actual case with Daybreak and obviously the hero's journey. So on July 16th, they filed some more preliminary injunction evidence stating some pretty crazy things. Like, for one, that ongoing growth from THJ is providing like an exceptional amount of threat to Daybreak Games and EverQuest. So this has prompted them to try to completely shut down the server before they go any further into this actual case itself. So that doesn't mean the case is over. That just means that they're going to try to get it shut down long before the case is over, and then try to figure out the rest of this stuff as they go. So what we are going to be seeing here shortly is going to be a response. I think it's by August 2nd, a response by THJ to this injunction. Now, in the same sense, though, just like the court and the judge passed down the ruling last time that they could stay open, but they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that, they couldn't do this. They're going to try to get it done again to where the judge will completely say, no, shut it down. And this is why, because it's causing this, this, and this. So Daybreak's July filing threatens the very existence of EverQuest itself. Now, them saying that, they're citing that the exponential growth of THJ, over 30,000 users, which is pretty incredible, by the way. That's absolutely incredible. A drop in the official EverQuest population, and network effects decline. Fewer EverQuest players, making the experience less viable. Now, they're also saying that each day that THJ remains online exacerbates potential irreparable harm. So, I mean, all of this stuff sounds pretty bad, but obviously it's going to be up to a judge to make that decision. They're going to be trying their very best, though, to get THJ completely shut off. So it looks like the deadline for THJ's opposition to this is going to be July 30th. So today we are at the 18th, so that's roughly, 12 days that they've got to be able to give some kind of opposition to it. It looks like August 6th, Daybreak's reply is due to that, and then oral argument on the injunction is anticipated on August 12th. So Daybreak's latest filings are definitely the strongest yet. They're framing THJ now as an existential threat to the actual company itself that owns EverQuest. So the whole procedural process here has shifted completely. So the court is now in a briefing mode ahead of a full injunction hearing, and I feel like it's going to be remotely done. I'm pretty sure they're all not going to come together to do this, but they're probably going to be moving this timeline up faster than we had anticipated before, because obviously they're stating that this is pretty much the death of Daybreak EverQuest if THJ stays open. That's what they're saying. Irreparable harm every single day that THJ stays open. Why do I think they're changing all this stuff? Well, to be honest with you, I think that they're feeling a little more confident after they had secrets just lay down, show their belly, and give them whatever they wanted. But I mean, again, that's my opinion, and I know that a lot of people disagree with it, but I don't think that any of this would have changed at all if they hadn't been groveling on their knees to go over there and ask for whatever Daybreak was going to give them. But it is what it is. But so obviously July 30th, THJ will be filing their opposition for this, or before that, you know. And then the court's going to weigh in on the arguments and could grant or deny the injunction by August 12th. So if it's granted, THJ could be shut down completely. Its repositories are completely removed, site taken offline, and that would be pending the full trial. Now, even if it's denied, the hero's journey would still continue under the existing restraining order. To not, add any additional content, not add anything that's custom, and only do updates as necessary just to keep the server up and going, not anything that's going to actually change the gameplay or anything like that. One thing that I thought was odd, and I know that this is, there's no question in my mind that the owners over at THJ have the largest brass balls on the planet, because not only are they a small group making an EMU server for players, but they are going against a major company in litigation, and they're not backing down at all, or at least not letting us know about it, I guess, if they are. But I was on the Discord earlier, and it looks like they've opened up an entire thing under their announcements saying they're still accepting donations, but the donations will be going towards their legal team to fight Daybreak. That is crazy, in my opinion, that they would, I get like opening up like just like a shadow GoFundMe for us to all get together and support them and stuff, but to come out and just brazenly say, you know what, we're still going to accept donations, and we're going to use those donations that we're in litigation for taking to now fight Daybreak, through a legal battle. And to me, I mean, I don't know, there's probably nothing legally wrong with it. Maybe there is. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just weighing in on my opinion on this stuff, but it's crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. These guys, if you look up the definition of giving 0 Fs, it's these guys for sure, 100%. But be that as it may, I do know that it's got to be under some other form of donation, right? Because I thought that all the donations were required to go into an escrow account. So I don't know how they're taking donations to use for legal matters if all the donations are supposed to be going into an escrow. Because they said that you can still donate the same way you could before. So it's not like they open up a separate donation queue for lawyer fees. They're opening, they said it's the same way to donate previously, which I was under the understanding that all of that money was going to go into an escrow until the litigation was over. So either I'm not understanding that, or they just don't have any intention to put it into the escrow. So I don't know. I don't know how that works. Unfortunately, I wish I knew more about it than I do. I just know what I read, and I try to read between the lines and do the research information that I can as much as I can. But a lot of this lawyer jargon is beyond me, unfortunately. But what are y'all's opinions on this? I want to believe that THJ is going to stay open. I really do. I want to believe that THJ stays open and doesn't get absolutely neutered like Quorum did. And I've seen the arguments, well, Quorum is always meant to be a classic server. They didn't take anything, they took everything away from Quorum. There's absolutely no more customization. There's a cap on player base, which I can almost guarantee you the cap is not going to matter that much right now. But if THJ gets shut down, that cap's going to mean a lot. Because I can see people still wanting to, scratch some kind of EverQuest itch, and Quorum could become very popular at that point. And unfortunately, with a 1,200 player cap, you're not going to have the player base that it could have. And I think they know that going into this, that they see that and they know it. I am curious if they ever gave Project 99 a cap. I don't think they did. But, I mean, obviously a lot of stuff is behind the table here on this kind of stuff. Do you guys... I feel like I would be much more on board with donating for like lawyers, things like that, if I got more information from the devs over at THJ. And that's just me speaking personally. I know that they're probably being told under legal counsel not to discuss the court case and things like that. But if I'm going to be going, and putting my money into it under just the understanding that I want to help, I would like to know where they stand. Like, are they just accepting money whenever their lawyers are sitting there telling them point blank, like, dude, you probably don't have a shot in hell, but we're going to fight this thing because you've got income coming in and we can do it? Or is it like if you pump some money into this, you're going to win this, but it's going to take this amount of money? Like, sure, I'll definitely I'll definitely fight for you guys, and you've got a 95% chance of winning this. If you pay me my fee of this amount, we'll run all over Daybreak in court. Like, I would have to know that kind of information, which right now we don't have any of that. It's kind of been hush hush. Now I don't watch the question and answers or whatever. They're very, very long. But I guess I probably need to watch a few of them just to see if any of this stuff gets answered. But I would want to have more information before I gave money to, you know, upcoming lawyer fees and things like that. And I don't feel like that's asking too much. I understand they're not going to give me the ins and outs of everything in the court battle. I don't think that anyone would expect them to, but I would like to know a little bit more than just, you know, can I has money and just hope it works out? Because to me, that makes it no different than all of these little Kickstarters where you never actually get to see the game. They just keep asking for money with absolutely, you know, no understanding or description or anything like that given of what you're getting out of it. But that is just me. Reading over this, I do feel like this feels more like the shadowy death in the corner of the room staring at you on the server than it did before. You know, going in and saying, you know, and bringing out numbers like $20,000 a month of income based off of the amount of subscribers, or I guess not subscribers, but, you know, the amount of people logging in and 30,000 users, you know, up to 4,000 to 5,000, you know, concurrent online and all that other stuff. And then showing, you know, that kind of things on paper. And then obviously at that point stating that it's doing irreparable damage to EverQuest itself. I don't know. Part of me is sitting here like, man, I grew up with this game. I really don't want to see the game itself absolutely just gone from quote unquote irreparable damage and all this other stuff. Also in the same sense though, I'm like, man, you guys have had so many chances to just listen to the players at all, to keep the player base strong, and you have literally just stuck your head in the sand and done nothing. And it's not necessarily THJ's fault that they've had the popularity that they had. I'm not sure that they would have even cared if they had 1,000 players or 30,000 players. I think they did it out of the passion of the game. But they listened and they did what all the players wanted. And of course, it's going to garnish the attention that they've got. Whereas Daybreak has consistently ignored the players, bring out terrible TLPs with the rule sets, listen to the complaints about the terrible TLP rule sets, completely, just in my opinion, completely soiled the bed when it came down to their 25th anniversary stuff. They didn't do near what players, in my opinion, were expecting out of a 25th anniversary like debut, you know, reward, you know, expectation. So it's hard, you know, it's hard for me to say I hope EverQuest keeps going just the way I hope THJ keeps going, because dude, EverQuest has just, I mean, in my opinion, it's let the players down for years, and THJ has been sitting here fighting and fighting and fighting. But I mean, I also understand where a company's coming from. You know, this kind of popularity with an emulated server, oh, that seems crazy. Now, in the same sense, I know players, you know, were flocking to that Outland server on Ultima Online. I know they make a tremendous amount of money because every single player that you see on there has some crazy, you know, whole get up outfit, everything that you buy with, you know, the actual coin and things like that that you donate for. So, and they've got a huge amount of players too, and they've had it for a long time. So I don't know if, obviously they're different companies, obviously Ultima Online and EverQuest, but I guess they don't care. I know that WoW has new and upcoming emulated servers coming out. Several of the emulated servers for WoW, if you look at, you know, even any of the reviews or comments, it's pretty much the same thing on every one of them. And that is, you know, a lot of pay to win elements, which means that people are, you know, profiting and monetizing their free to play emulator. And I don't know if Blizzard, I know that I've heard Blizzard shut one of them down, but there's like a ton of them. And then there's a brand new Epoch coming out at the end of this month which is another server that's obviously going to be accepting donations, have a donation store where you get different, what are they called? Like just, you get a fancy sword like look or whatever, transmog items. That's what they're called. You know, just stuff to look like, you know, whatever. And I mean, I guess that's okay. And then it's got to be hard to be a company and see your game melting in front of you. But in the same sense, instead of taking any self-reflection and saying this could be a little bit of our fault, why don't we listen to the players and find out what we can do to make things better? They just say, you know what, we'll go attack the people that are so passionate about our game that they did this as a free project. Now, I guess you could argue now $20,000 a month isn't free. That's, you know, $250,000 a year. That's a lot of money. But I don't know. I don't really care how much these guys make running THJ. I hope they make as much money as they possibly can. I hope it doesn't get the server shut down and get them, you know, their own private finances attacked. I hope that that's not something that happens. But at the end of the day, I feel like they deserve something for their time and effort, you know, going into making something that, you know, we've all enjoyed. But that's me ranting. July 16th, temporary injunction set, wanting to shut down THJ forever, claiming that it's doing irreparable damage to EverQuest as it stands. And every single day that THJ is allowed to stay open, EverQuest gets farther and farther and farther away from being able to survive. July 30th, THJ will give their response, if not earlier. And then August 12th, we will find out on this injunction whether or not it goes through or not. Fingers crossed. I don't know what to say. It doesn't feel as positive as it did before, which is a shame, because I was really hoping that it would stay up for, you know, obviously as long as possible. Now it seems like as long as possible could be as early as, well, it could be as early as August 12th. So if you still want to play, obviously get your time in now, have as much fun as you can. Thank the devs for all their hard work. And obviously thank them also for going to bat for you. Even if they lose this thing, don't forget that even if they lose, they still went to bat for the players. They obviously are making a tremendous amount of money on it, which could also be part of the reason why they want to keep it going, because they took like a fan-made project and just made bank with it. But at the end of the day, I really feel like they also did this for the player base, and they're wanting to keep it alive for the players. And they went to fight for you for it. They didn't just roll over and destroy the server like some other server owners did. And by the way, I got banned from the Quorum Discord. I'm guessing they saw my name was Gymnastic Goldfish on there, and then they just banned me. I'm assuming that Secrets doesn't like what I have to say about rolling over and destroying your server and not caring about your player base at all whenever it comes down to it, instead of defending them even the smallest bit. But here nor there. I guess that is what it is. I'm not looking to put them on a reference on any kind of resume soon, so I'm pretty sure I'll be just fine. But at the end of the day, yeah, thank the devs over at THJ. They've done a lot of hard work, and I feel like they're still fighting hard for everybody that plays. And I honestly think that the server will be up for a very long time if they win this, obviously, with brand new content coming, a lot of custom stuff, and we will be able to enjoy it for a very long time. So we need to look forward to that, you know, with glass half full mentality, in my opinion, just to try to keep everything going. So you guys have a good day, and I will keep you posted on any new information that I get. See you guys.